Welcome to my channel. My name is Nae. In this episode, I am reviewing Zac Efron's new movie Firestarter, which is a reboot of Drew Barrymore's 1984 movie, which was an adaptation of Stephen King's novel by the same name. Let's jump right in. So Zac Efron plays Andy Mcgee. He's married to Vicky, played by Sydney Lemon. They recently started a family. They have an infant baby named Charlie. They seem like the perfect suburban family. But then baby Charlie lights her crib on fire. It's a whole big thing. We soon learn that this family has telekinetic powers and are on the run from a covert government lab that has already experimented on Andy and Vicky when they were in a group home. Andy and Vicky are trying to protect their daughter Charlie from becoming a lab rat like they were, so they remain off the grid. That means no jobs, no cell phones, no computers, no technology. But what it doesn't mean is no school records, because Charlie is going through puberty. She's a preteen and is enrolled in school. So they can't totally be off the grid because there's a paper trail. But okay, let's just go with it. Let's ignore that detail. To make ends meet, Andy hypnotizes people for pay, but the drift drains him so much so that his eyes bleed. Okay. Ryan Kiera Armstrong plays preteen Charlie, whose telekinetic powers is stronger than that of her parents. Her power is like that of Bruce Banner, the Hulk, meaning the power remains dormant until it's incited by violence and then becomes uncontrollable. So, as I said earlier, she lights her crib on fire as an infant and somehow it remains dormant until she enters puberty. We see Charlie playing with a lighter and realize that she's curious with fire and that she wants to control the earth. So eventually we find that Charlie's being bullied, tormented, and shamed by boys in school and has been suppressing her anger, but it's becoming more difficult every day. She runs because she learned that from her parents. They've been on the run as long as she's been born. One day in school, Charlie's bopped with a dodgeball and escapes to the bathroom because she knows that this feeling is being conjured within her. She turns on water, which is used to help block her from fire starting. This is also why, which we find later in the third act, that this DSI facility, this government lab, is situated seaside by the seashore, which is revealed in the third act. Charlie is getting to the point where she can no longer control her power and ends up lighting the school bathroom on fire. So they're ready to get rid of her, but it makes the news. So now they have to get back off the grid. The DSI captain, whose name is Hollister, she realizes where Vicky, Charlie, and Andy are. And so she sends someone who also has telekinetic power. She sends him on a mission to bring Charlie back. His name is Rainbird. She sends him on a mission to bring Charlie back to this lab, and it's okay for him to kill Vicky and Andy. Andy and Vicky are packing. They're packing up because they already know that someone's going to be on their tail. So they're packing, knowing someone is eventually coming. Well, Charlie gets mad. One thing leads to another, and she ends up accidentally burning the hands of her mother, using her power to burn the hands of her mother. This was actually meant for her father, but so it's not only uncontrollable, but she's flubbing and making mistakes. But anyway, they're supposed to be packing and leaving, But because she is in such pain, she sends she sends Andy and Charlie to the store to get her some ice cream. She's craving ice cream. So obviously they're not in a hurry. But while they're gone, Rainbird finds her, ends up killing her, and in front of Charlie and Andy, when they get back from the store, they see that Rainbird has killed Vicky. So they end up escaping the clutches of Rainbird because he does have powers, but Charlie's is more powerful. Well, they end up trying to hitchhike to Boston, and they find this man who he's willing to, well, Andy tries to bribe him. It's a whole thing, but they end up back in, like, they're supposed to be on the run and they're supposed to be in a hurry, but they keep getting their trip gets interrupted, or they get distracted when they're supposed to really be trying to escape. So I think it's a time waster, but there is a point in the film where they meet this old man. He's a rancher. He brings them back to the ranch because he's hungry. Charlie plays with the chickens. This particular scene is also in the 1984 adaptation of the book. It was in the original Firestarter, I should say. So maybe filmmakers felt obligated to leave this section in, but it's really wasted time and a wasted scene. But Rainbird ends up finding them on this small ranch. Charlie escapes, but Andy's captured and taken back to the facility because they know that he'll use his mind to get Charlie. So Charlie knows where he is, but he tries not to do this. He doesn't want Charlie to end up in this lab, but she does, and ends up burning the facility to the ground. But the ending was a bit of a fizzle. It kind of just flatlines. I mean, it kind of is just like, okay, like it leaves you saying, why did I waste time watching this? It's just, there's really no reasoning behind why they remade this film. Like, I don't know that they added any substance to it. Now, the texture of the cinematography was very smoky, which I didn't mind. I think it complemented the metaphor of fire starting. It was scored beautifully too, which I think complemented the cinematography. Here's the thing though. This reboot was extremely unnecessary. Maybe producers thought that there was an audience in 2022 for this film. I don't know. I think they should have scrapped the entire first and second acts because it's boring. It's unnecessarily front-loaded, and again, they're time wasters. I think they should have started this story with Charlie already captured, and then she has eventually escapes because she wants to find her mother and father. But maybe this lab have erased their memories of Charlie or done something to remove their powers, and so Charlie's out here, starting fires or something to try to get the attention of her missing parents or something. There's so many different ways that this could have been used to give it more substance or intensity than just, they're on the run, they got to stay off the grid, they want to avoid being in this lab. It's just like, okay, what else you got? It leaves you wanting, not just wanting more, it leaves you wanting something else. Score is worth your time. It's a beautiful score. I believe John Carpenter scored this. I'd give this reboot a D. Thank you so much. If you stuck around this long, I certainly appreciate you. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And until next time, peace.